Now I'm going to say something that sounds wrong. This new Huawei Mate X7 might be more durable than your current phone. And once you see why, you might never look at foldables the same way again. So foldables have always promised the future. Big screens, multitasking and literally flexing rights. But they also come with anxiety. But this Huawei Mate X7, Huawei is basically saying stop babying your phone. Because this might be the first foldable that actually feels like a normal phone. Now the reason why I say it doesn't feel scary, because if you ever use a foldable, you'll get it, because you know when you really need to use two hands to make sure to be extra careful, like you're holding a newborn baby. Now when it's folded, it is very slim and sleek at 9.5 mm, but unfolded it doesn't even look like it's going to be cracking in half, and is only about 4.5 mm thin. But knowing the fact that the phone weighs at only 236 grams, this is basically a regular unfolding flagship phone's weight. But Huawei also nailed the materials. First and foremost is the back, the vegan leather, together with the woven textures as well. And these colors over here doesn't scream for attention like most other smartphones. Now speaking of colors, there's also three options over here, which is red and black with the vegan leather finish and the brocade white that gives a subtle nebula effect. Now the reason why it is very durable is because this is built using the ultra reliable foldable architecture, where every component have been crafted together to give the phone that extra bit of a durability. Now this outer screen uses the ultra durable crystal armor Kunlun glass, which is 16 times better scratch resistance and 25 times better drop resistance compared to any normal glass. And this is why they're confident, showing with all kinds of durability tests, even with knives as well, where most brands wouldn't even allow that in a demo. But this particular hinge has been also very much improved, where it's the all-new advanced precision hinge, which is constructed from ultra-strong carbon fiber, aerospace-grade polymer, and an ultra-high strength steel. So it has been fully improved and given a redesign since the previous Mate X6. And this redesign means that it has zero contact between the hinge and the inner screen. And the reason for that is that when the phone drops, the force doesn't transfer directly to the display, and there's space for it to absorb the particular impact. But that's not only it, because the inner display also uses a 3-layer composite structure that includes a carbon fiber support and an impact-resistant UTG or ultra-thin glass, and a new Newtonium fluid layer, where Huawei even scanned the entire phone to test the internal durability, and that is the kind of testing that you only do when you're trying to prove a point. Then this phone is also IP58 and IP59 rated. This means that the phone can go up to 2 meters of water for 30 minutes, and it can also withstand high pressure and high temperature water jets up to 80 degrees Celsius. So now you won't have to worry if you are using your phone in the shower. That is, if you want to. Because even if your phone is wet, the touch accuracy still works properly thanks to the wet touch accuracy. So you won't be fighting the screen if it's raining or if your phone is totally wet. Now Huawei has also introduced a new camera module design, where they call this the time-space gate, an evolution of the design language they introduced ever since the Mate X3 that gives an air of premiumness when you just take a look at the phone. Because here's where foldables usually fall short. No matter how cool the foldable is, once you pull out the phone and take pictures, that's where it really hits. Small sensors, weird processing, or good for foldable type energy, which basically is code for not good enough. But Huawei is very clearly trying to kill that stigma, because they're positioning this Mate X7 as a foldable that shoots like a proper flagship phone, not a backup camera system. Now the phone's main camera comes with a 50 megapixel ultra lighting HDR with a massive 1/1.28 inch RYYB sensor and a variable aperture from f1.49 to f4.0. Then as for the telephoto camera, it comes with a 50 megapixel upright telephoto lens which has a 3.5 times optical zoom and a telephoto macro at 12 centimeters. Now Huawei says that the phone's camera can capture up to 127% more light intake on this particular telephoto compared to something like the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So that was really great, and it sounds ridiculous until you see this particular photos with these amazing telephoto lenses samples as seen over here. Then the ultra-wide camera is a 40 megapixel f2.2 RYYB sensor, which is nothing crazy on paper, but Huawei pairs this with their true color camera system, which is designed to keep colors accurate even if the scene has a combination of a bright and dark area. Then this Mate X7 also shoots Ultra HDR video at 17.5 EV dynamic range, breaking the bar already broken by the previous Pura 80 Ultra at 16 EV or dynamic range. So this is the first ever foldable smartphone to achieve something like this. Now, to put that into perspective, that is actually edging towards cinema camera territory, because the Red V Raptor cinema camera that Marques Brownlee uses has only 16.5 EV dynamic range. This is something that you will never ever expect coming on a foldable, all of which means that you'll get more highlight detail and more shadows and less blown out skies and crushed blacks when it comes to any video situation. Next, let's talk about why foldable exists in the first place, which is the two screens. Now, this bigger screen is obviously what makes a foldable appealing, but this is just not a bigger screen, it's also a productivity powerhouse, as the Mate X7 also supports 3 apps running at the same time very smoothly, and they can also stay active even in the background through the phone's live multitask feature. Apps like Google Docs, Google Meet and WhatsApp can run at the same time, all in one screen, with no lag and a very easy to control scaling on the screen as well. But the best part is that all of these apps are already available on Huawei's app gallery, so no more going through hula hoops to get your apps working properly. Now, if you guys are enjoying this video so far, do give this video a nice big thumbs up to tell the people running the YouTube algorithm that this video was good for you, and a subscription will be extra sweet too, so thank you, and thank you very much in advance. Next, the battery on the phone is also quite interesting because it has a 5600 milliamps of silicon anode large battery, which is quite huge for a foldable. Now, Huawei officially rates the phone at 11 hours, which is about 1.4 hours more than the previous generation. And based on my daily test using this for the past several days, I got very close to that and sometimes even more. Now, most foldables sits much lower than this because the space of the phone is very limited, but Huawei clearly prioritized battery instead of shaving off another half of a millimeter. Then as for charging, you get a 66 watt wired charging, which can top this up really quickly. Then there's also 50 watts of wireless charging, which is faster than some wired flagship smartphones. And yes, you also get 7.5 watts of reverse wireless charging, which is not the fastest in the industry, but for a foldable, that's very impressive. And this also means that you can easily top up your earbuds or someone else's phone. Alright, let's quickly talk about AI, because every phone nowadays has AI, right? But the problem is, most of it either is pointless or doesn't just work properly. But Huawei's approach here is refreshingly different, as these are practical AI features that save time instead of creating new problems. First of all, there's the newly improved AI Remove, which lets you clean photos without digging into complicated editing tools. Then there's also the AI Best Expression, which is great for group photos, where the phone automatically picks up the best facial expressions from multiple shots. Then there's also the gesture controls, which actually makes sense on a big foldable screens like this, where you can swipe gestures to let you navigate or even trigger actions. And this is especially very useful if you're multitasking or just using the phone unfolded with just one hand. Now, if you want a written recap of everything mentioned in this particular video, we do have one at our website at www.adamlobo.tv, where we also have some daily tech news over there too. Links to the website will be down below. So the Huawei Mate X7 isn't trying to be flashy. It's not trying to win spec wars. It is trying to solve the biggest reason why people really avoid foldables, which is fear. Fear of dropping it. Fear of getting it wet, and the fear that the camera might be just good enough, I guess. because you get a foldable that is actually tough, that even a car can't damage, a camera that finally competes with flagship slab phones, a big screen that actually changes how you work and multitask, and honestly, this might be the very first foldable that feels ready for normal people like you and me, not the typical tech nerds out there. Now, the Huawei Mate X7 is available for pre-order in Malaysia, where you could get free gifts up to 7,597 ringgit, including the Huawei Watch 5, a Huawei MatePad 11.5-inch, and Huawei Care Plus. There's also a 1-year one-time screen protection to give you the extra peace of mind, so head to the description or the pinned comment below for more info and updates. But do let me know, will this be finally a foldable for you, or do you still prefer a non-foldable phones? Let me know in the comment section below.